talk. Also, I've been talking about this, the manhunt that's still ongoing for Daniel Khalife. I mean, this is extraordinary. He's been on the run, as we know, from HMP Wandsworth. Now, the latest is he was spotted about an hour later in
Wandsworth roundabout.
In Wandsworth roundabout. And that shows actually how vigilant the public have been. There have been a lot of questions over the timeline here, how long it took for the authorities in the prison to actually call the police. But what I've understood from interviewing people on Drive this week is actually, and talking to officials in the prison service, because it's more of an open prison. I mean, there are so many inmates in that prison.
But it's not an open prison, it's a Category B prison.
It's Category B, but apparently, because they allowed freedom of movement within that prison, it took them a while to work out whether he was there. But clearly, multiple failings, like why didn't they check underneath that lorry? It was in an airlock as well.
Yeah.
So lots of things being asked about this. And also the big question, was it an inside job?
Yeah, I mean, look, that wouldn't surprise me because, you know, anybody in life, it would appear, can be corrupted at some point. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it was an inside job. I think there's a bigger issue here, David. I think, you know, Wandsworth Prison, which, you know, people have said should be shut down, is licensed to hold 900 people. It's got 1,600 people in it. So we're overcrowded. You know, and I heard Hoenderkamp actually say this week that it is not for the police to tell judges how many people they must send to prison. It's for judges to sentence people and then for our government to build enough prisons.
Correct. So the current population of UK prisons is 84,400. Our capacity is 78,000. Exactly. So what? We're 6,500 prisoners over the capacity. Now, 4 new prisons are being built, allegedly, 2 in the north, 2 in the south, at a cost of 2.5 billion. But if we can't get our prisons in order, what does that say about the state of this country?
Well, it says everything that we're seeing, David. The breakdown of law and order, shoplifters, you know, just causing havoc, assaulting shop keepers and workers, you know, a breakdown completely in car crime, people's houses being burgled. Now, you just said 2.5 million to build 4 prisons. We're spending another 80 billion on HS2. Should we stop that ridiculous scheme now?
Yes.
Build some more prisons.
Stop it.
Build some schools. Build some hospitals.
Well, you would have thought so, and we've talked about this with the migrant crisis, of course. With every person that comes over here, they need schools and hospitals and all the rest of it. And, of course, we simply don't have the infrastructure. You make a really good point. Why was he in a Category B prison? When you look back at the timeline, he joined the army in 2018, having left school at 2016. But in 2021, he elicited personal information about soldiers from the MOD personnel system likely to be used for terrorism. He didn't face any charges. They were then dropped. He went back into the army and then left those fake devices in 2023, and only now was he in prison awaiting trial, which was taking place in November.
And were those fake devices a trial run for something that he might do in the future and kill some of our soldiers and our armed forces? I mean, look, there are so many questions to be answered here, and I think what it does do is put a spotlight on our prisons. Prison officers have a 30 to 40% absentee rate, sick rate, because the job is so hard. Do you know how much they earn, David?
It's really low, isn't it?
Between 21,000 and 26,000 pounds. We have got consultant doctors in this country on 130,000 going on strike for a 35% pay increase. We've got people looking after our most dangerous criminals on 21 to 26,000.
I agree. And also, when you sort of deep dive into the number, the prison service, they're saying that actually 900 million was removed from the budget. They brought in a voluntary exit scheme. They say we've lost 100,000 years of experience because of staff leaving. And that's something else that came out on Drive, is actually what sort of people are we recruiting to be prison officers? The fact is you actually need very experienced people in there because it's a really tough job.
Why isn't there a direct route, as there is in medicine, from biomed degrees into medical degrees? Why is there not a direct route from our armed forces, when people leave, into the prison service?
It's a really good point. And that would also get around the problem, as we've talked about people who coming out of the forces who feel disenfranchised and turn to drugs and alcohol. They're homeless. We don't look after people in the forces well enough.
We really don't.
And they would be brilliant doing this kind of stuff. But also, it's really interesting that Wandsworth suffered a virtually identical escape by a prisoner 4 years ago when someone did exactly the same.
I mean, I'm laughing, but come on, David.
But by hanging to the underside of a lorry. So you would have thought if it happened 4 years ago, you'd actually learn from it, and therefore you you could instigate some security
Well,
measures.
you would have thought that there would not be a vehicle that goes in or out of that prison that doesn't have a mirror put underneath it. But then this could actually be done by discarding people, and it's not often I have the role of AI in my sites, but surely it's very easy to have something on the floor, which is a camera, David, under every truck that goes in.
No, but they're meant to do that. They are meant to do that.
They're not just using mirrors, though.
No, they're meant to actually inspect underneath every single vehicle.
Yeah, but I'm saying that this could be done really simply.
But they have cameras. And then they say, well, actually, it's because the cameras are being upgraded, the upgrade isn't complete. Well, why not?
I mean, you couldn't make this up. And you know what? The guy had straps, you know, to actually attach himself.
As Christo kept showing me.
Yeah, he had straps. You know, you need help for that, surely.
So they're all saying this is an inside job, or at least there was some inside help. And then you have to ask, well, who was paid to do what? How long was this in the planning? And clearly someone must know something. Interestingly, at that jail, I was looking back at the people who have escaped. In 2011, and this is really ingenious, one of the inmates wrote a fake email authorising his own release, and he got out. And then, of course...
And he got out?
And he got out. In 1965, of course, Ronnie Biggs scaled the walls, of course, the great train robber. So they do have escapees, although, to be fair to the government, there have only been 5 since 2017.
Yeah, and before that, I think there were many more.
There were many more, so they have tightened up. But,
they have.
But you know, also, there have been massive queues on the M20 as a result of this, because we have an all-ports warning. They are saying he is incredibly dangerous. That's the really important thing. Do not approach this man if you think you have seen him, because he is highly dangerous. And there's this all-ports warning on, and of course I do wonder what Alex Chalk actually knows, because he seems very confident they will catch him. Now, do you think that's bravado?
I think he has to say that, doesn't he? Because otherwise, what on earth are the government doing? I think if he's in the country, which we saw he probably is, as he was spotted at Wandsworth, then I think they probably will catch him. That's my gut feeling. But, you know, who knows what the hell he's doing in the interim, who he's connecting with, who he's passing information to, you know what's happening. And what will they do with him when they get him, David? I hope he goes to a Category A prison.
Well, I think everyone is thinking exactly the same.